Hello, hello, mic check, mic check.
How about me? Am I coming through right?
Kai, I got you. Welcome all my aliens, apes, and zombies on this welcoming Wednesday. How are you, my friend?
Good, good.
We'll let the room fill in a little bit here. Ian.
Yeah, definitely.
Ian.
I tried some music. I don't know how you pull it off, Cryptonova, but I was playing some music from my phone into the mic of the other phone and listening to it, and it was like really choppy. How it was. I think we just hang out, chat for a little bit as people come in.
I got my phone right next to my computer, and all I do is I have an NFT right here, and I'll play a quick little Dream Loops here. Sorry, this is not Dream Loops. This is Warp Sounds. And just like a little intro music. So, a little happy intro music as the room fills up here. All right. It's a welcoming Wednesday, and that was actually an NFT that I was playing there, and it's one of those things that you can do in the space. I did not create that NFT; I bought it. So there's other artists out there. So Castle hats off to Warp Sounds for creating those beats, and that's kind of those cool things that you can do in this NFT space is use what you own. And one of those things that we're trying to do is, some of us are trying to use our digital identities to, get around in the space. It's leading into kind of the conversation that we're going to head into here with Kai, along with, looping into new here. And it was something that a project that I was happy to link in with Dan Sickles about, I don't know, less than a year ago. It feels like a year ago, but this time goes by real fast. So I want to hand it off to the host and over to Kai here. But yeah, let's what's going on there? All my aliens, apes, and zombies.
Yeah, doing good. It's exciting to be here and to talk about the film. We've been waiting to, those of us involved have been waiting to talk about it for a little bit of time now. And it's really just around NFT NYC that we started to do the initial teasers and start to eventually tell people what's going on. But, now that we have, it seems like there's a great reception for what we're doing. So that's really exciting.
And that's what it is finding those the reception and finding who else is out there, the like-minded individuals that are in this space that makes it fun, makes it intriguing, entertaining, all those. And with that is kind of documenting the how you get here, because each of us have a couple pages in this chapter, and it depends how big your chapter is going to be, depending on, I guess, one, your longevity in the space, and two, how cool you are, because that's what you find is the cool community members that are able to share ideas, collaborate, and be part of not only the NFT scene, the cryptocurrency and crypto art scene as well.
Yeah, definitely. Is it worth talking about like how this came about? Because I think that's what we're all excited about. Is like we captured, we got started in what felt like a moment was, like we're capturing a moment with here and the attention that came to the Web3 and NFT community last year. And now it's like we're really chronicling the events as they unfold in real time as we go into this year. So it's really, it feels like a moment in time, a moment in history.
And it is, and it's documented and tracking it and tracing it. And, when I first got into like the space in general, it was, finding out what that next step was at NFT NYC 2001. Dan and to be recorded, to be documented in New York, because I was going to be out there. One, anyways. Two, he was kind of wondering how I was going to remain anonymous. For those of you who have never known or seen what I've do, if you look at my Twitter handle right now, I actually just tweeted out just 5 minutes before this went off, is what I actually look like IRL. And it was me with Dan. And I don't know, new here, if you were, I don't know if the creeper's driving, the Crypt Keeper's driving, but if maybe you want to pin that up on it, you just would go to my Twitter handle and go on there, and it would be pinned up for the spaces. People can see it, but it was a very fun engagement, where he's just like, well, how, to me, Dan was just like, well, how are you going to like be a speaker at NFT NYC if there it is? Thank you for posting it up there, because it was some of the best times of my life. It was fun as heck. And he's just like, how are you gonna do that? How are you gonna present it? I'm like, well, in my mind, I'm like, well, that's easy. I'm just gonna get a tassel hat, just buy one. I'm gonna get some cheap sunglasses, glue a clown nose on it, and I'll, I was gonna black lipstick, but at the time everyone had to wear masks anyways, because we were just getting unleashed from the lockdown of COVID. And so I put black lipstick on a mask, and I just dressed how I thought my CryptoPunk would dress. And it was neat, and it was fun because I knew other people who were anonymous in the space were going to be doing I don't know, maybe the same thing, maybe doxing themselves. Who knows what they may have not been wanting to do within binary space, because that has been yet to be revealed. But then, and talking with, I remember like Claire Silver is just like, yo, I think I'm gonna like go in and like get documented for this film. Like, what are your thoughts? Asking me as a friend, as someone who is doing the same thing for the first time. And I'm like, hey, they are professionals. They take our take our safety first. They take everything into example. Oh man, I'm looking at the pinned tweet right now. I missed the hashtag, or I missed one of the at signs for here now. Sorry about that. But is that like that fun part of the process, Kai, was like there for the first time and seeing how it would how it would work out.
So, can you talk about the why of, making your non-identity or lack of it has been core to, who you are and what you're known for? I'm sort of like my online identity probably goes back to like June and like the beginnings of Twitter when people weren't really anon. So I was sort of doxxed from the start. So I don't really know what that's like, but yeah, what's it like? Because that's been a key consideration for us putting this into, some people who are not, some people who are non, and thinking about creative ways to accommodate that. And you've obviously found a creative way to do that in public. But yeah, like let's talk a little bit about your motivation for like maintaining this anon identity.
It is motivation, and hopefully the motivation of other one person, 6 listening down there, musician trying to get into the Web3 space, because wants to run his horizons, reach more fans out there. And with that, at the time of recording with Dan, let's say NFT NYC was last year. It was actually like 8 months ago. So recording with him then, I was still a teacher. So I still had responsibilities of education in the classroom. So I wanted to stay anonymous. And with that anonymity, I didn't want to, jeopardize my career that was actually paying the bills, because messing around, I shouldn't say messing around, but knowing what I know and educating others, Web3 space, I still wanted to do that. So one of it was job security, and the other one of it was marketing genius with my two best friends who are marketers. Beskar, Beskarxar, like the filter I use to stay anonymous digitally. And the other one is JRR Token, and they both work at larger marketing companies that are now Web3 based, because I was able to reach them with the knowledge of Web3 and NFTs, and they were able to take that knowledge and expand on it and make better careers and lives for themselves from it. Very similar to the same course that I was fortunate to take. So to remain anonymous continued, because it's kind of like the allure factor for others. It, one, sets myself apart from maybe other NFT or PFP digital influencers. Two, I'm trying to brand my NFT, and what better way than to have Mickey Mouse in IRL walking around, quote unquote, not the real Mickey, Crypto Novo, my CryptoPunk. And three, it's just fun. It's fun. I have fun doing it. I'll be first to say it's fun being able to meet people, shake hands, take selfies, be known to be that person. And the people I've met have been very gracious. I feel like I have been a good person in this space. So I don't know if it's sometimes the karma that comes with it, but good things happen to good people. And I kind of had a presentable story too. I want to get out there that I was a teacher. All teachers have side hustles. My side hustle was collecting stuff in any capacity, if it was comic books or baseball cards growing up. And that grew digital assets, cryptocurrency. Like, all right, well, why not try to at least own a Bitcoin, say that you just own a Bitcoin. And then all of a sudden that Bitcoin's worth a heck of a lot of money. And then well, what's this Ethereum about? Well, what can you spend your Ethereum on? Well, right now you can buy CryptoPunks. All right, well, now I see the collectability of CryptoPunks. Now I'm, buying rarer CryptoPunks, like the 5 trait that my CryptoPunk is. It has a hidden earring, and the black lipstick stick is a visual hidden that people often overlook. So I saw the collectability within CryptoPunks. So that branched into just the whole thought process of why not just stay with it and kind of be that influencer in the space and just kind of look for and help out and educate others. So that turned into making a digital AR filter for G Money, for Spotty Wi-Fi, Ape Productions, so people can remain anonymous and still make a name for themselves, or just use anonymity to make to enhance, to put rims for say on your car to enhance your NFT.
How do you think? I mean, today, what feels like? It's the question of identity. Like, I think it was Matthew. How this is the metaverse. It's like it doesn't need to be VR, AR. It's like the fact that I look at my friends and or the people I interact with most these days, my online sort of peers, and I don't think. Well, I've known folks for since 2017 when I got into this, and I haven't been to the events since before. I went to some blockchain events, but that wasn't really NFT days then. And they're folks I've known for since that time. What is it, like 4 coming up on 5 years, and I've never met them in person. And folks like Pranksy, who hasn't even doxed himself to me, but I consider him a friend. So yeah, at least the kind of like what is identity? Like, which is more your identity now? Is it your anon identity, or do you like who do you identify with when you put your head down?
It's funny you say that because even being a product of their surroundings, my children will see punks or crypto CryptoPunk 3706 and just be like, hey, Crypto Novo, and just almost assimilate that with what I'm trying to accomplish as a brand, if you want to call it a brand, or having fun in the space. And it is it's kind of working in a sense, and it's fun because when people tassel hats sometimes sell, we thought like yours sold, and like, oh no, and so then now when people look at Beanie, they look at the Beanie CryptoPunk. When they look at Tony Herrera's with the clown hair tooth, they see that. When they see G Money, they see the ape, and so on and so forth. So why not carve a niche within this, because it is a big space, and it is an interesting space to reach out to, and to remain anonymous for those that want to and remain that, that is totally capable. So what I relate to more is at work, in my work meetings, I use an AR filter. I use it often, all the time, every meeting, and no one's ever really seen the true identity, for lack of a better term, and everyone's cool with it. And I think that's what's awesome about this whole space is it doesn't matter if you're an alien, ape, zombie. People accept you for who you are, as long as you're honest, as long as you're upfront. You are who you are, and a lot of people are good judges of character because there's a lot of self-policing, and you kind of cut to the crap right away, real fast. The people that blow and smoke. And with that being said, you have those interactions with people, and if they're in it for what purpose. And if they're in it for themselves, those people don't last long, because it's impossible to do this by yourself. Impossible. You need friends, you need the network, you need the community. You need to make cool things. And what I try to do is I make friends. I've had some of the coolest friends out there. And, when Dan reached out to me, he saw the AR filter, he knew the story. He's just like, we got to tell the story. You're a teacher, you're trying to do the American soul. We're close to the American dream here. How does this all correlate? And next thing I know, I'm in New York. I'm there again. I don't want to expose much of who I met there, because that whole thing is you have to remain anonymous. But it was morning, and I don't want to say anyone is a gentleman, but this alien ape or zombie, I'll call him, had a lot of tattoos, and embedded in his skin was a chip where he can give you an NFT. So I got a morning NFT bagel from someone bumping it to me, honestly, with an embedded computer chip in his wrist. And I was just like, man, that is some cool stuff. Then he goes, well, that NFT can get you a free tattoo. I'm like, what? And that's his genre, his club, his forte, ink. And it's not a body modification, I don't know, but it's cool. It was cool as hell. And fast forward to NFT NYC this year, where Patricio, the owner of POAP, is doing the same exact thing, but with pretty much a business card, a physical business card. It's not embedded into his arm. And I'm sitting here thinking this is cool as hell. I don't understand, and then I look back, and he was ahead of the game, and he was making a name for him, her, or themselves in this place. And that was the person that went right before me in there, and it was the same. He's like, yo, Dan, was cool. It was awesome. Like, so like I'll kind of replay it for when I get in there. So like I walk into ding, elevator button, go up. Is that cool? Kind of, I just break it down like this? Like,
yeah, I mean, but before we get to that, I think it's like to set the context. I think it's it's what you're talking about is how kind of what got me excited about the project when I was talking to Dan in the early days is that it's really about the human stories, and it's about this the stories behind the NFT space, and a lot of what I think you hear in the media is really looking at the superficial, and even the stories that we tell ourselves are we're focused on what's right in front of our face with the market, or what project is up, what project is down, whether or not we're all going to make it, like all these things. But what about in the beginning was like that there are these stories that you're not hearing, like your story and the artist stories, and what it means on the ground to really be living the life and changing how you whether it's through the technology or whether it's through the art, how you really approach changing how people approach their lives, and it's changed how you approach your life, and now you have this this sort of hidden identity as is a part of your life as anything else. So yeah, why don't you tell us like what was it like? I haven't been in the studio. We were having my baby and they're in LA. I couldn't try into the studio. But yeah, tell us what the was like, because I haven't pictured it, because I haven't even seen it.
First of all, congratulations to the newborn. Awesome. Stay positive. Love life, all life. Please love all life. That is just excellent. So like ding, elevator button goes up. I was at NFT NYC 2021, and I can't remember what day it was, but like I'm not a New York native. I'm from Chicago. Pretty street savvy. I got some smarts. Probably better street IQ than regular IQ, and walking. If you look at the picture on the pin tweet in the upper left, I have a digital mask, and people are like, "Oh, like, do you make that? Like this, that, the other thing?" And no, I don't. I get it on Amazon. It's like $100, maybe even cheaper now. And I plug, right click save, put my PFP on there, and it's my CryptoPunk. And I'd walk around New York with that on. And my line good, like I really can't see peripheral vision, like walking down like a step at a curb, like you'd have to like look straight down almost to see that step. And people in New York were just like cool about it, like looking like right on, like shaking their head, like, and it actually kind of gave me like confidence. Like at first I had friends with me and, Chicago friends that I'm not saying they're security by any means, but like, like we roll thick as thieves. I mean, friendships since like first, second, third grade, like hang out every day. So like, if someone's going to mess with me, they're rolling with the crew. And I got a lot of like confidence because people were like, cool, nice look, like, like kind of like you look badass. And it kind of like gave me confidence too. Like, and people didn't get I was a CryptoPunk unless you got it. And I was handing out stickers, and on these stickers was my CryptoPunk. And then people understood, like, I get it now. So walking up into the studio, I don't remember the floor or anything like that. Walk up there, and it's just like, a green room where you just like sit down, and it's just like fridges, snacks, drinks, like whatever you want, and like at the time it was like COVID. So everything was just like spread out, cleaned out, wiped down, individually wrapped, like whatever you needed or wanted. And like one after another, like I think there's 4 people in the crew there in the room at the time. Each one of them came out at their time and just, hey, what's going on? We'll be with you in a minute. Like, cool, this, that, you need anything? Like totally outgoing. And maybe it was just more like, hey, we got this oddity out in the kitchen here. But like the thing of it is that it wasn't that. Like I wasn't the oddity, and like, or before me or after me, like we weren't. Excuse me, getting a sip of water. Like I was thinking like, oh, maybe I'm the, you know, the whatever, the allure, but like looking at it, like we were all the cool people. And that was the cool thing is like the cool people are being seen. And like for me, I know I'm cool because my son picks out my clothes. And like if he thinks it's cool, like all the kids at his school thinks it's cool, then like that's cool because I'm in my mid 40s, and believe me, like things I think are cool are, you know, the same hoodie and Adidas pants that I wore in high school back in, you know, the 90s. So like with that, like, you know, right on. And like if I walk out of the house and my son's just like, yo, you're going to work like that? That's pretty cool. Like, you know what? I got a smile on my face behind that digital mask. So anyhow, we get in there and the digital mask, which I knew when you film it or take pictures of it, sometimes the aperture of you're filming and recording at like gives you like a black screen at times. So it looks like it's like panning over. Very similar if you like look at like computer screens on like a live news broadcast or something, like the computer screen looks like it's flipping over. So man, like it was like straight pros. Like we did a film test and like, all right, like that doesn't work. Like and they're like, what's like plan B? Like, how can we do this? Like, oh, we can turn the chair, we can do this, we can do that. And I'm like, oh, I got a plan B for this. And I took off the digital mask and I had glasses, a clown nose, and a medical mask, which you see in the larger picture. And Dan and his crew were just like, you know, the crypt keeper and everyone was just like brilliant, like awesome, let's do this. So they put body rigging on me as well. So we could, whatever, we can digitally enhance whatever we wanted to do later. So very similar to the AR filters we use, you want to rig everything right off the get-go. Because if you're recording it, at least you can use the body rigging on it. If you're looking at it, it's a harness that you put on that has a battery pack that links to fingers around your torso, legs. So you move in a green screen room, it can be Neo in the Matrix if they wanted to make me out for that. Record process. My background in being in shows, movies, etc., kind of cool. We did 48 Hour Film Fest, my friend and Beskar X. We won in Chicago, best film. 48 Hour Film Fest is a movie you make in 48 hours. You pull things out of a hat that have to be in your film so they know you made it in 48 hours. So they give you a genre. We had a Western theme. They give you like a prop that you have to use, a saying, a line, like a character's name, blah, blah, blah down the list. So we won the thing one year and like hats off to ScarX. Like he's the one that does all the technology, AR filter. And I was just like the bad guy in this thing. And I was a horrible actor, like just like horrible. I was more of like a grip side man, like setting up the tech and like, hey, you know, it's like, hey, Crypto Nova, like when you punch someone, you don't have to make the sound effect like Batman, like boom, whap, bang, you know, like that's like, I don't know. Fast forward to when Batman was being recorded in Chicago, we got hired to be extras in Batman, and we are actually in the a driving scene. Is hired as drivers, not physically driving where they saw us, but on one side of the highway, there's the Batmobile doing stunts, and we were on the other side of the driveway, highway, going 5 miles per hour, and they fast forward it so it makes you look like you're going 110. So we did like 3 Batman films and got paid for it and saw like stunts go on, and it was pretty fun, but it was nothing like sitting down and getting like recorded like this. So it was like a nice mint green room. That was actually our green screen room. And you sit down and Dan was just very, likable person, just like talking like with a friend that you just like met up with again, you know, like just picked up on a conversation. And then like the line of questioning was great because it really wasn't like script. I don't think it was scripted. I mean, I'm sure he had a line of questions in front of him, but it shows his professionalism in the space where he was like, he would build off of your comments. So like almost like an investigative reporter would be. Like he would dig into it, and he understood like I wasn't like really being anonymous for anonymy's sake, per se. It was more for, I don't know, he was able to like pull that line of questioning out, or he was able to pull that out through his line of questioning, which was like very just like it went like fast, you know. And then like then you look, you're like, dang, I am like getting recorded and filmed for a documentary, and like you didn't even realize it because like you didn't realize it until he said like, hey, stop staring at the camera, you know, whatever the eye direction was that I wasn't doing, because like you know, I was just whatever.
So, I mean, the questions that you have, your sort of insight into the film through just talking to Dan and being interviewed, like what's your sense of? I mean, I don't know if you've been through all the announcements that we've made on the website, who's going to be, you know, who we've announced so far is in the film. What's your sense of the film as it's shaping up, and then what's kind of your hope for you know, what would you like to see from the film? What sort of impact would you like the film to make?
Well, one, my reach, because again, it comes down to bandwidth for me, just like anyone else, because the space moves extremely fast.
I can still see. I didn't get right, did I?
No, you're still. I'm sorry. I was talking and I was muted. Sorry, I was talking and I was muted. Forgive me. You're not rugged. I was talking into dead air. I was talking to myself. So yeah, this space moves like super fast, and so when I touch base back and forth with Dan, you know, it'd just be like, hey, you know, I've asked, you know, a couple people like, you know, any like good you know, pixel art, because he knew that I had a couple you know, pieces in my NFT collection. And you know, the next thing I know, I'm looking at, you know, the website that is just awesome and I love it. New here.xyz, and just like I'm sorry, I'm going to be selfish, but I love staring at my CryptoPunk and how people imagine her, because it is a her. It doesn't matter to me. I identify as a avatar, and how, you know, they dress my particular CryptoPunk up, and it's great. I love it, and it's just leave it to the eye of the imagination of the beholder. But then like then you see Claire, and it's like the same thing. Like, you know, Claire Silver's there, and she's actually right up at new here.xyz / cast, and you know, just seeing her, and then Snowfro as the zombie, and we know how that he sold a lot of CryptoPunk zombies. Nate Alex on CryptoKitty, and you know, right on down the list, Tony Herrera, Tom Sachs with a rocket, you know, Zapito Rip.
We're dealing with, I mean, you talked about so much about how like these artifacts of your identity are, you know, so recognizable. I mean, something that I'm really excited about that we're doing with the eventual drop for the collectibles. That we just, you know, we've been thinking more about the mint passes and the communities for communities, that there are communities involved, and for people to join as sort of unprecedented. You could join as a, you know, credited producer of the film. So those are the areas that we've been focused on for now before we get into the drop. But we're doing pretty exciting stuff with the drop too. So this idea that all these recognizable aspects of the people in the film are going to be remixed into a collection. So you may wind up with your hat. You may wind up with you know, Nate Alex's legs or something like that. And I think that's pretty cool too. It's like they're not just nameless traits. Like we wanted to build a collection that, just like the film, represents, you know, being in and of the community. And so, you know, everyone will get their individual kind of pixel avatar of it, but it's represented, you know, it's representing different aspects of the people that are recognizable. And one of them in past, I mean, one of the tiers is actually for people to represent themselves as one of one. So you can literally put yourself or put your community into the collection. So I think we just started to talk about that. But I think that's a pretty cool aspect of what we're working on.
That is wicked. That is wicked cool. Two things. If you want to watch visibly, and I don't know if you guys want to pin this on my Twitter handle. I have Paris Shilton, and she is actually restreaming what we're looking at live. So if you wanted to look at some of that pixelated art, you can. And then also in my Decentraland, I'm live streaming in Decentraland too. This broadcast as well, because it is about document for me as well, and it gets going to be recorded on YouTube and Twitter because I want to document this for myself. So like when it leads up to showtime, and things are coming out, like I'm all in. I love this process. I love what you're talking about. And you said it's about having members in the community. You're like literally making blockchain representations of them for the community and in the community. And that's what it is. It's, helping each other out. With that, I was able to send you guys some Decentraland wearables. It's the same thing. It's being part of that community member, being part of that action, being part of being an active participant in this NFT space. That's what I'm trying to spit out there. And you could be an active participant within the space as well. You guys have tiers: a community builder, a new here, a crypto producer, and you're at different aspects and different variables, very similar to these personalities in the space. Alejandro's, photography, we have photographers in here. We have Andrew Wing. I mean, I don't know. I get excited because these are people that I met IRL at these events consistently. They're like-minded, and those mint passes are there, and it's utility. I mean, that's another thing is you get utility behind it, where sometimes NFTs don't have that, but utility of being of something, being a part of community, and it might even having a stake within that too, depending on what kind of NFT you get in on.
Yeah, I mean, I think what's about getting involved now is and what I was definitely excited about. I've been involved in making short films with my production company. I've worked at Sony Pictures and at Netflix, but just being involved with Dan from the early days, just ideas on paper through to the production that's in process now, and then through to post production, and then eventually where it gets distributed or it gets picked up by a streamer or whatever. I think that's an exciting journey to be on from end to end, and we're still very early in the process. People that join up now get involved in the community, and depending on what tier, the crypto producer to a little bit more insight into what's going on. But generally, we're going to share with community things as they happen, so you can see like behind the scenes pictures in our Discord, and about the interviews as they happen, and then there'll be a lot more. Right now it's covering the personalities, but it's eventually get into traveling around the world and getting stories from artists around the world. So I just think that's exciting for I hope more people pick up on if you're a documentary, or if you're an aspiring documentary filmmaker yourself, this is sort of unprecedented access to be a part of this film as it's happening, and to see it unfold in front of your eyes. So that to me is also the power of Web3, that you have this kind of community access. You have this community that can have a stake in it. There's something like crowdfunding on Kickstarter. It's you put your you add your fund to the treasury, you add your contribution to the treasury, but then it goes off into limbo, or it goes off into however often the filmmaker updates with posts. But here it's like you're in the war room. You're sort of behind the scenes, and that's the expectation of Web3 and the communities that we built within that. It's like you're a part of it, and you're interacting with the people that are making it happen. So yeah, again, it comes back to this idea that the film is meant to be in and of the NFT community and reflect our values and kind of how we want to capture this moment in time, and what we're all excited about.
Well, I mean, to my knowledge, there's NFT layered projects. There's very few NFT layered documentary projects. Actually, I think it's there again. Maybe a selfless plug here. My pin tweet has Mark Cuban on it, and he's saying that is the future. This is now, and it was actually, if you have Comcast and you type in NFTs, there's an NFT documentary. I think, well, ABC produced, and I have like 2 seconds total in it. It's like 3 little clip bits of me being with my anonymous in this space. And if I'm slowly getting leaked into those things right now, because I'm pretty much a no one, in comparison to like a Snoop Dogg and Eminem being on stage, like the forefront of anyone listening can be in these ABC shows, documentaries real soon. And not only that, like I reverted all back to access. And when Dan is up there claiming another award at wherever it may be, maybe Sundance, this is going to provide access, and this is going to be your producer access into a film if you are a filmmaker and trying to get in on something. And I like to get in on things, and this was an easy link in for me because 1, I like to talk, if you guys haven't noticed by now. 2, I like to tell stories, but 3, I like to be a part of other people that have like-minded stories. And that's what it was being with Dan, was like the assimilation of all the like-minded things. The alien, ape, and zombie that went after me after being interviewed, she or them, they were someone who was not of the age of 18. And the mom, I believe the mom was in the room. And like the same thing is like, yeah, this is the first time my son, daughter, etc. has been like interviewed, and like I'm talking to her like, yeah, how's the NFT space been? Like, yeah, my child just paid off our house, and like, help out other family members, and like this stuff is changing lives. And I'm like, this is the point, and this is why we need to be telling this story, because like a kid artist is coming through and helping support his family, and like his mom is just like the same thing, like in New York, and like we wouldn't really be able to do something like this if it wasn't for art and people reaching out and community. And now we're able to tell that story, and it's important to tell the story, document it appropriately. And with your time that you've been with Netflix and Sony, and even like I was looking, looks like Lady O, that she is a filmmaker that is listening there. There's a whole bunch of other community managers that are listening in on this. Chill Zone is a filmmaker exploring the metaverse. You're all listening. It's the same thing. Like, this is entry. This is a way to get in. This is the great equalizer. And when I sat down and was able to talk with Dan and the crew around him, and I wish I remember their names. I had following them on Twitter. They were very nice and kind to me. I think I got one of them up in a helicopter, actually. I think I got him a helicopter for part of the documentary because what was his name? I'm trying to think back here. They offered me a helicopter ride, but I couldn't make it, so I offered it to a film crew because I had one seat on a helicopter. And I think someone from Danicle's was able to get like an opening shot using the helicopter. There's an open seat that I could not use.
Yeah, and I think, what it feels like, and that's what's so exciting about the NFT space. And it sounds like I'm not going to do it older than you, but you're old enough to remember the emergence of like Web 1 and then Web 2 and Web 3. And it really feels this is either fulfilling the promise of what we thought the emerging web would be. But the hope has always been, we're redrawing lines of access and working apart, the sort of gates and barriers to entry. And I think that's, in a small way, we're doing that with having access to a documentary film, having access to a Sundance award-winning filmmaker. And these are things that, in the past, it's like oh, maybe if you can get to a certain event, and maybe if you can get to a certain dinner, and then maybe you can meet the filmmaker. It's like that doesn't exist anymore. And I think that's so much the value of, you know, the Web3 community is like we're breaking it down and sort of leveling access. And because of that, it means that maybe you have an NFT that, I didn't know this was like NFT gated, but maybe you have an NFT that gets you a helicopter ride, or, you know, it's like we're really sort of redrawing the lines of, you know, what it means to have exclusive access, and that it shouldn't just be held by, you know, we can reward rather than, you know, what school you went to or how much money you were born with. It's like we can start to reward people based on their participation with communities and their participation in the space, and you know, how much attention and time and community building they get. I think that's, you know, in a small way, I think that's what you know, we're doing with the film, but also hopefully picking up on those values and talking about them and sharing them, and you know, creating that narrative about what I think those of us who are excited about Web3 are really about, and not so much this speculative market and, you know, going to the moon. I think this is where, you know, changing people's lives is what the stories that we want to tell.
And that's you touched on a couple good points there. I've never been in the art realm as far as like an art collector, or, you know, I couldn't tell you the difference between a sculpture and a painting and who did what. All right. I mean, I could, but it, a lot of people that were in that Web 2, how am I going to phrase this? People that were trying to create a name for themselves in Web 2, and what they had to do to get into a gallery or into a show or get their movie shown or have their art put on a wall. It was such a closed circuit of to either pay a lot of money or know the right people or do unethical things to even get like a wall in a fancy museum. Where in Web3, it's an equalizer, and it's a reset button for a lot of people to do this. And it's a equalizer in the sense that like there's a lot of new things being built with one, physical galleries that you can actually go see, digital galleries that are, you know, I mean, look at On Cyber, look at Artifact, look at, you know, heck, Decentraland, look at any metaverse, look at people's, you know, PFP pictures that they have Octagon in on Twitter. And people are making names and studios and life behind it because it is a new way of monetizing what you have, and it's saved online to keep the legitimacy legit within all of it. Welcome Punk 4052, love the look, nice big shades. Don't get no sunburn on that nose. That's what happened to me. That's why my nose is so red. But you know, it comes back to an equal playing field. So if you are, you know, producing film, you can, you know, put it out in a digital aspect and fundraise for it in a different venue, in a different way. You know, you can get a DAO created, you can sell NFTs to get the fundraise, you can do whatever, and you can maybe not even own the musical rights to anything, but you can have, you know, digital assistance from another NFT coming in. I'm looking at your guys' team, and dang, you guys have a healthy team here. You have a huge team now. 2, 4, 8, 12, 16. Nice, man.
Yeah, it's growing. I mean, just to do another pitch for the crypto producer role, it's like it can continue to grow in that way too. So it's only to continue to add to our credits. But yeah, I mean, I think it's credit to Dan, and I remember the early days. I mean, I was kind of thinking about a documentary, you know, just witnessing the moment in time before I met Dan, and thinking, you know, this space is right for the right sort of documentary, and also fearful that a documentary would emerge that's telling the wrong stories, the stories that, you know, are maybe more sensational. But then when I met Dan, and you know, his vision very much aligned with what I was thinking around, you know, he wants to tell the human stories and the artist stories and how it's changing lives. That was really what excited me about the film, and I think it's that, you know, that passion that Dan brought to the project that attracted the rest of the team and the crew to also join up. It's, you know, you him, you've sat with interviews with him, and you just see how authentic and genuine he is. And I think that is just what has led to people wanting to get involved and to talk and to want to see this film expand and grow, and it does tell give a complete representation of the space like we hope it will.
You know what it was for me? Like, he wasn't working. Like, that was the thing. Is like, he wasn't working on the film. He was just like chilling. Like, he was just like hanging out, and like, so then like for him, like, and I view it like this, like the NFT space sometimes doesn't, there's things now that feel like work, but there's like, you degen, and then all of a sudden you look up at the camera, or you look up at the clock, and it's just like, man, it's like 2-3 in the morning, because you're having so much fun that you like totally forget about space time. And like, so like, I can just imagine like Dan, that day for Dan just like went like a blink of an eye, because it's not work for him. He was like able to sit back. The work is all setting people up and getting people in there on time and emailing and this and that. That's his element. That's his moment. That's what directors do, like he was just, like.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm not, that's why I know the film is going to succeed, and I'm not, if there are other, I mean, I don't think you can have another film like it, because, Dan is an NFT now. He jumped in with his feet, and you can tell that he's doing what the rest of, quickly got up to speed with the rest of us, and was, getting into the projects that it wasn't like an outsider sort of looking at the zoo behind the glass. It's like, he's in the middle of it, and he's excited about it and passionate about it, as is everyone else. So where we may have started, I met him when he was in the sponge phase of absorbing as much as he could about the space. Like, he's definitely, a peer and an NFT native through and through. The film, it's called New here, but I think Dan's definitely here. It's telling the story of people who are telling that journey, the story of the journey.
Well, you're always going to be new somewhere, and it's tough being new in anywhere, in any space. But then with that comes, chips, and I think that's what you're going to find through at least the cast of characters who are in and embedded and involved in this, is like, we are all friends, like, and we're all maybe guided individually, but like the puzzle pieces will be connected through, obviously storytelling. And that's like the great part of it. And like, you can't do that. You can't go back in time and capture. So like, I have talked to, and I've been filmed by other crews, documentary groups, individuals as well. And like, and I don't say this to be like, when is this coming out? Because I want it tomorrow. I just generally to know. And almost all of them are like, well, we don't know. Like, and that's cool to hear them say that, because like, if you're going to document something, like you got to document the story, and you don't know when it ends. And sometimes, documentaries take years to make and develop. And like, even this one that's being created right now, like, just be the first episode, like, you never know where it goes to or where it branches into. Like, even they're being recorded and documented, so we can go back, hash back, and look at like, hey, yeah, we knew it. We talked about it. We just said this and this, and like, now we access to whatever film fest, and we do have our digital assets. Someone does have my digital hats on their head, and they are whatever, they're making their own movie.
Yeah, and I think so. Yeah, definitely. This is the beginning of the story. But I think you do have the benefit of the crypto space moves so quickly that it's not like going up to the to the Antarctic and documenting climate change, where maybe you have to film year upon year. I mean, there's so much that happened in real time. Like the whole Axie hack happened the day before Chiho to be interviewed. So it's like that's all unfolding in real time. And the fact that we did get, we're getting a boom market and we're getting a bear market is also an important part of the story. And it shows the two sides of, how this space evolves. I think we do benefit from the fact that the crypto space moves so quickly, and we just covering the time that we film or the time that we interview everyone in the space, chapter after many chapters of history and time already.
Like think of like that history and time. Like think of a lot of things, but like, someone who bought like Amazon stock or this stock, like back in the day, any Web 2.0, whatever. And I lived through the .com era. Some of the first stock I ever bought was when I first turned 18. I used E-Trade when E-Trade opened up that very day to buy E-Trade stock. And I'm like, well, people are just going to not use traditional brokers anymore. So I'm going to buy this E-Trade stock. And then the next stock I bought was a stock called Apple. So Apple, I bought at $12 a share. And I sold at an amazing $16 a share. Yes, I made a whole $4 off of it. And I probably had like maybe 10 shares of it because there again, I probably used a paycheck from, the local park district that I worked at to, whatever, get some skin in the game. So needless to say, using what back then and viewing what's happening now, like, and none of this is financial advice, please don't take it that way, but why not take some extra scratch and attach it to some NFTs? So like looking back at history and time, we all might be laughing like, remember when these NFTs were 50 Ethereum, 100 Ethereum, because who knows, they might be the next Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck or, whatever going in before any movie that's being played in the future. And, this gives you at least an opportunity to be there because you can't go in a time machine back to the 50s and, buy a house in Hollywood and, try to be a producer because that's almost impossible to do nowadays. And there's tons of creative people out there. That's the thing that social media brings is those people. And that social media is very, very easily could be very easily hyperlinked to other people. And if you attach it to an NFT, then you have the ownership. I see Six listening down there. Like Six, that's the thing. See if you can maybe get a song in new here. And I know you're a musician and you're working hard to get into the Web3 space, but maybe entry and just hopping out of the nest is this the first start of something new. And that's what I had to do in the space is, again, none of this was financial advice, but I took a paycheck and I invested into CryptoPunks, figuring this was the first of something. I knew that Bitcoin was used to buy pizza. I would have used Bitcoin to buy pizza, and I would probably still have that pizza sitting in a fridge because I wanted to collect it. And as soon as I saw that you can buy CryptoPunks, I bought one for $200, and Ethereum was $196 at the time. Just like you're saying, Kai, I rode the wave. I had bought that Ethereum. That Ethereum went up, I think, to like $1,800. It crashed. When it crashed right around COVID, that's when I took an entire teacher's paycheck, and I'm like, hey, this ain't going to zero. I've seen this happen with stocks. I've seen the wave, and if it's going to zero, all our money is going to be worthless anyways. So if everyone's stocks to zero, then whatever. So I took a risk. It was a calculated risk. I could honestly whiz that money away. I'm not a drinker, so all the money that when my friends go out after softball, because we live in Chicago, play some mitless softball for years, for 10 years now, I take a little bit and I dollar cost average after every softball game. So when it dipped, cost averaged in, like I was continuing to do, and that was the risk I took. And just like you're saying, the ebbs and flows of this, I hope we're all looking back at this laughing one day saying, ah, ha, ha, ha. But you guys and us and the community are documenting it. And I'm just happy to be a part of it. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, and just to tie a bow on that and bring it back to like the drop, the eventual drop is, I've collected a lot. I don't expect to ever be liquid again, and that's just the nature of the space. But I mean, I think one of the great things about the drop that we're doing is like, if nothing else, it marks a moment in time. Whether you come in when you're tier 2 and you put yourself into the collection, or if you just collect one of the drop itself, you're part of a community that participates in sponsoring a community builder level tier. That's you're going to have something that you can take with you that marks this moment in time. 2021 to 2022, and that's never going to away. And that's going to be all the things that we love about the immutable blockchain. That's going to be written to the blockchain, and you're going to have that moment in history. So I think in a true collectible sense, like, it's really an important. Well, we hope it's an important thing to document, and hope that you would want to take that with you.
Well, it's not going to be taken with me. It's going to be seen by my kids, and it's going to be seen hopefully by their kids, and so on and so forth. And so then I don't need to explain myself, because I already have, and I am. Maybe it'll be for me to look back at and making sure I'm being proper in what I'm doing in the space and self-policing myself. So I mean, it could be a self-critique on my outlook on happening in the space. Am I living in an echo chamber and thinking this is the next best thing since flying cars? There is a couple flying cars out there. So like, I'm thankful that like people reach out to me. I enjoy making friends and relationships and network. I wish I had more bandwidth. I wish I could create it. And that may be what I do is with my digital identity. I can have my digital identity to, get me through this world and still remain anonymous. Not saying if I was really walking, I would be any different than I am right now. And another thing that I bring up to people is like, what if I ever go to a conference, or have I ever gone to a conference and not dressed up and walked around? Have you ever thought of that? So that's kind of mind-blowing and mind-bending.
Well, on that note, I know we've hit the hour. I think we're getting into like metaphysical territory of like, does your blockchain existence exist beyond your own existence? So I think we'll leave that for another time. And we can get into the deeper questions of life and the meaning of the metaverse. Yeah, it's been great talking to you, and completely excited about the film and that you're and yeah, hope the community is as good as we are and continues to get involved and see how this story unfolds.
Yes, that's indeed. I want to say what up to my coworker Kevin down there. Kevin, I think you're on the East Coast, 11 o'clock, bud. You better be getting to bed. I'm going to be unplugging here as well, because I do have some work that I got to. I'm going to launch some plugs for myself. One, if you want a free Decentraland wearable, I just give them away for free. So just whatever, DM me your ENS name or your public address. I don't need a seed phrase. Don't send me that, but I'll be happy to send you a Novoverse wearable. I'm in the Novoverse right now. The core 2369. So Michael Jordan 69. You can go there, and I have a screen going on dancing and having fun. And eventually, if this video or when the movie comes out, I want to video live Decentraland with the appropriate approval. And you know what? This is an awesome project, and I want to help support artists out there. And the film industry and art is something that we can make an equalizer in. And there's a lot of people listening in this very room, that avenue of filmmakers. I've seen it recapture the hearts of photographers through Justin Aversano, through digital art, through advanced AI technology with Claire Silver, Alejandro in photography. I've seen normal people like, I don't know if you call G Money normal, because he is killing it with the connections he makes in the game. But there is out there. And I just want to make sure everyone knows that there are people out there to help in any capacity, very similar to my coworker, Kevin, who's listening, very similar to Six, who is listening. Ian, we're all here to help each other. So thank you for helping me about, making a name for myself and getting a voice out there. And hopefully it's a positive one.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for plugging your work and what you're excited about right now. I know we're nearing the hour and you guys got to go. So just to wrap things up, I just want to say thank you, Novo, for joining us tonight, and thanks for everyone for listening in. It was really cool to see your back on your experience on the set and you are about this film. Thank you for the vote of confidence. Just a little update on what we're doing next. We are chatting. Dan actually will be chatting with Adam McBride next week, and we're hosting an in-metaverse movie screening for Mala Mala, which was Dan's first movie that he ever directed. So please join us for that. We're excited about them. And again, thank you everyone for joining in. I hope you learned a lot and had a good time. Any other last words from speakers before we close this out?
Kai, much love, and the crew too that, helps behind the scenes. There's tons of it. The Crypt Keeper with the E's backwards as threes, mad love to you. Yeah, thanks a lot. Stay positive and love life. Peace.
Right back up, dude. Thanks, everyone. See you all next time.
El Outro music, just feel free to end it whenever you need to. Again, this is some Warp Sound. Peace.